The siren sliced through the quiet of the suburban night. Dr. Maya Jefferson's Tesla eased to the curb, its dashboard glowing pale blue against her dark skin. She'd just left a 12-hour board meeting, the kind that decided who kept their jobs and who didn't. Her reflection in the side mirror was composed, almost regal. Then the flashlight hit her face. License and registration, the officer said. His tone carried something that wasn't procedure. It was ownership. He leaned close enough for her to smell coffee in disdain. His hand rested on his holster, though she hadn't moved. Was I speeding? She asked, calm, precise. Years of knowing her voice could be a weapon. Step out of the vehicle, ma'am. He drew out the word like a joke. Traffic passed. No one stopped. The neighborhood lights watched but didn't blink. Maya stepped out slowly, heels on asphalt, every motion deliberate. The officer circled the car, peering inside. Nice ride. You borrow it from your boss. Her pulse sharpened. I am the boss. He smirked. Sure you are. His radio crackled, her name echoing faintly from dispatch. Then silence. His expression shifted, confusion flickering into something colder. Dr. Maya Jefferson, he repeated under his breath, the CEO of Hallstrom Industries. She caught the tremor before he did. That's right. A second patrol car pulled up. Another officer stepped out, a woman, eyes wide with recognition. Eric, she hissed. You stopped her. The first officer's jaw locked. The night air tightened. Maya exhaled, once, slow, steady as the red and blue lights blurred into violet dot. Then came the word that froze her blood. Ma'am, you're under arrest. The sirens cut off abruptly as the cruiser halted behind her. The night went still again, except for the hum of the Tesla's engine winding down. Maya Jefferson adjusted her blazer, brushed the tension from her lapels, and pressed the window button. The beam of the flashlight found her face, license and registration. She handed them over without a word. The officer didn't look at the documents. He studied her. Where are you headed this late, ma'am? Home, she said. From work. He leaned in. What kind of work? Executive, Hallstrom Industries. The smirk was immediate. Oh, that company. Fancy cars for fancy people. His flashlight drifted over the touchscreen, lingering like a probe. This, your car? Yes. He tapped the glass with his light. Step out. Her heart rate barely flickered. Years in boardrooms had taught her control under siege. Still, her fingers trembled when she unclipped her seatbelt. The world outside the car was sharper. Asphalt smell, sodium lamps, a dog barking somewhere far. He told her to place her hands on the hood. Metal cooled her palms. Did I break a law, officer? Suspicious behavior, he said. Vehicle fits the description. Her voice thinned. Description of what? Stolen car. The absurdity hung between them. Then backup lights painted the scene in restless color. Officer Brooks approached younger, uncertain. Everything okay, Eric? Routine stop, Daniels said. Just making sure she belongs to this ride. Brooks' eyes flickered toward Maya. Recognition, maybe pity. He didn't speak again. Daniels moved closer, the heat of his breath on her ear. Funny thing, he said. You people always act like the rules don't apply. She turned her head, meeting his stare. Which rules are those? He laughed, not from humor but authority. The ones that keep order. Her phone buzzed inside the car. Her assistant, probably checking in after the meeting. Daniels opened the door without asking, reached in, grabbed it, scrolled once. Dr. Maya Jefferson. He read aloud. Dr. You got a PhD in attitude too. She said nothing. The silence became its own defiance. Brooks shifted uneasily. Eric, maybe shut it. Daniels snapped. He clicked the cuffs open, the sound sharp as breaking glass. Hands behind your back. For what charge? I'll figure that out at the station. Brooks froze. That's not procedure. Daniels turned on him. You writing the book now? Maya exhaled slowly. You're making a mistake. He smiled. No, I'm making sure the world remembers who runs it. The cuffs bit cold into her wrists. The streets swallowed her dignity in silence. Curtains twitched in nearby houses, but no one stepped out as he led her to the cruiser. Daniels muttered, Bet your board loves this image. She glanced over her shoulder, eyes like tempered glass. They'll see more than you think. He shoved her gently inside. The door slammed through the tinted glass. She saw Brooks staring, unmoving, caught between fear and conscience. The car began to move. Red and blue lights flickered over her face, alternating like accusation and warning. She whispered to herself, low, steady, document everything. Her mind already mapping every angle, every voice, every camera. If power wanted a spectacle, she would give them one. The cruiser turned toward the station. The night, finally, swallowed the sound. The station's air was refrigerated, humming with fluorescent fatigue. Dr. Maya Jefferson sat alone in a steel chair, wrists cuffed to a table that smelled faintly of bleach. Her blazer had been folded and confiscated. Her watch sat in a plastic tray beside her ID badge, CEO Hallstrom Industries. The guard who'd collected them had muttered something about standard procedure. Eyes fixed on the floor. Beyond the one-way glass, shadows moved, officers watching, whispering. She stared at her reflection in the glass, her own eyes staring back. Control was armor, and she wore it like breath. The door opened. A man in shirt sleeves and a clipped tie stepped in, holding a folder. Internal affairs, she guessed. His badge read, LTR Vega, double quotes, Dr. Jefferson, he said, closing the door softly. I'm Lieutenant Vega. I wanted to check that you've been treated unlawfully, she said. You can say it. He exhaled, already defeated. There's a process. There's always a process, she said, until someone like me ends up in it. He hesitated, then sat across from her. You were stopped by Officer Daniels and Officer Brooks. Daniels claimed the vehicle matched a stolen Tesla report. The database shows my name on the registration, she cut in. Yes, he rubbed his temples. We're sorting that out. You'll be released soon. Her tone was a blade dulled by exhaustion. That's not release. That's cleanup. The silence that followed was dense, suffocating. From the hall came the drone of voices, the ring of a phone, the slam of a file drawer, bureaucracy's soundtrack. The door burst open again. Alicia Grant entered. High heels, trench coat, eyes like legal fire. Nobody talks to my client without counsel. Everyone clear on that. Vega stood immediately. Ms. Grant, this isn't sit down, she said. You're not in charge here anymore. She dropped her briefcase on the table. Metal on metal, opened it, papers recorder, a printed photo, Maya in cuffs, standing by her Tesla, a bystander's phone flashlighting her face. Already online, Alicia said, #driving while black, trending. Vega looked pained. That's unfortunate. No, Alicia said, that's evidence, the world's watching. Maya's lips barely moved. He enjoyed it. Every second, Alicia nodded. We'll make that count. The lieutenant cleared his throat. Look, Officer Daniels will be put on temporary leave while temporary. Alicia's tone cut him off. He fabricated probable cause, performed an unlawful search, and detained a corporate executive without charge. You think leave covers that? Vega's eyes darted to the glass. Someone was watching him, and he knew it. Do what I can. You'll do your job, Alicia said. Nothing more heroic than that. When he left, the room fell into stillness again. Alicia unclipped the cuffs with the keys she'd demanded from the hall sergeant. Maya's wrists were marked with twin red grooves. Alicia examined them. We'll get photos. Bruising sells stories. Maya gave a small, dry laugh. You mean proof? Same thing, Alicia said. Different audience. Maya rubbed her wrists. They'll bury this. They'll say he was following protocol. Then we make protocol the villain, Alicia said, packing her case. Systemic failure. Patterned abuse. You're the credible face they can't dismiss. Maya looked back toward the glass, her reflection still waiting there. Credible, she repeated quietly. That word's done a lot of damage. You're not here to repair their language, Alicia said. You're here to break it. A knock. Brooks stepped in, tentative eyes darting. Ma'am, he said to Maya, I just wanted to apologize. Alicia bristled. Save it for court. He shook his head. You don't understand. I told him to stop. He wouldn't listen. He said. Brooks swallowed. He said she needed to be reminded of her place. The room froze. Maya met his eyes. And what did you do? He looked at the floor. Nothing. I froze. That's how systems survive, Maya said. Alicia scribbled his statement down. You're testifying. Voluntarily. He nodded, shame pooling behind his pupils. I will. When he left, Maya's shoulders sagged. Alicia snapped the recorder shut. He's the crack. We widen it. Maya's voice was low. Do you ever get tired of being right after the damage is done? Alicia didn't answer. The guard opened the door again. Dr. Jefferson, you're free to go. Freedom, the word landed like irony. Maya stood, straightened her blouse, took back her badge, her phone, her folded blazer. Outside, flashes from reporters lit the station's glass doors like paparazzi lightning. Alicia leaned close. Keep your chin up. Maya stepped into the light. Cameras fired. She didn't smile. She didn't flinch. She simply walked forward, toward the noise, toward the fight. toward the proof. The precinct hummed with the low throb of tension, officers whispering near vending machines, dispatch radios hissing like static gossip. The story had leaked. The name Dr. Maya Jefferson now carried gravity heavier than any badge dot in the report room. Officer Eric Daniels sat before a blank incident sheet. The cursor blinked on the screen like a heartbeat. He rubbed his jawline tight, eyes red from no sleep. His supervisor had told him to get the paperwork right this time. He began typing. Traffic stop conducted due to vehicle matching bolo description. Driver refused to comply with verbal orders. He paused, flexing his fingers. The lie was already taking form, sentence by sentence. He knew how this game worked. Precision lies dressed as procedure. He added words like non-compliant, verbal escalation, and safety concern. The machine language of justification. Brooks stood in the doorway, silent. "That's not how it happened," he said quietly. Daniels didn't turn. "You got something to say. Say it to the union rep." "She didn't resist," Brooks said. "You know that." Daniels finally looked at him. "You think the world cares about that? You think they want the truth, or a headline that doesn't burn the department down?" "She deserves the truth." Daniels leaned back, eyes cold. "She deserves what everyone gets. The report I write." Brooks swallowed the words rising in his throat. He left. Down the hall, Maya sat in a smaller office with Alicia. A digital recorder blinked red on the desk. Vega, the internal affairs lieutenant, sat beside a stenographer who looked 20 and terrified. "Begin when you're ready," Vega said. Maya clasped her hands together. "I was driving home from a corporate meeting. I was not speeding, nor violating traffic laws. I was pulled over without cause." Her voice was even, but there was current beneath it, the restrained voltage of rage. Officer Daniels approached my vehicle, hand on his holster. He asked where I worked. When I told him I was CEO of Hallstrom Industries, he implied disbelief and instructed me to exit the car. I complied. Alicia interjected. "State exactly what he said." "He said, quote, 'You borrow it from your boss.'" Vega's pen stilled. Maya continued. "He handcuffed me without explanation and seized my phone. I was not read my rights. I asked for the reason of arrest and was told he'd figure it out at the station." Her tone cracked slightly on the word station. She pressed her fingers together to steady herself. Alicia slid a paper toward Vega. Screenshots from the leaked footage. Maya's silhouette against the flashing lights. "Proof," Alicia said, "and audio's incoming from a bystander who filmed from across the street. We'll have the body cam request by end of day." Vega nodded slowly. "We'll need to review all evidence." "Review," Alicia said dryly, "not erase." He looked at her, then at Maya. "Dr. Jefferson, I want you to know I take this seriously." Maya gave a small, tired smile. "Serious doesn't undo harm, Lieutenant, but it's a start." Hours later, Daniels watched her leave the station through the front doors, photographers flashing, microphones raised. His jaw flexed. Brooks stood beside him, silent. "She's turning this into a circus," Daniels muttered. "She's turning it into accountability," Brooks said quietly. Daniels turned. "Don't start with that woke garbage. You saw how she looked at me like she was above the law." Brooks' voice was soft. "No, like she'd been through this before." Daniels glared. "You choosing sides now?" Brooks didn't answer. That night, Maya sat in her penthouse apartment overlooking the city, skyline glowing, glass walls reflecting her isolation. Alicia paced in front of the couch, on the phone. "They've already drafted a union statement," she said. "They're claiming you were aggressive, that you resisted a lawful command." Maya's laugh was sharp and empty. "Lawful commands have done a lot of unlawful things. They'll try to smear you," Alicia said. "Personal history, corporate politics, anything. I've spent 20 years proving I belong in rooms designed to keep me out," Maya said. "I can survive another." Her phone buzzed, a text from her assistant. "Board emergency meeting tomorrow. PR, crisis, escalating." She closed her eyes, the ache behind them deep. "They're going to use this against me." Alicia stopped pacing. "Then use it first." Maya looked at her, exhausted. "You think justice is that simple?" "No," Alicia said, "but it's loud." Across town, Brooks sat in his patrol car, hands on the steering wheel, engine idling. The dash camera blinked red. He hesitated, then whispered into the recorder. "This is Officer Michael Brooks. Badge 3418. This is a personal record. What happened to Dr. Jefferson was wrong." He stared out the windshield. "And I can't stay quiet." He hit save. The camera's light flickered. steady and unblinking, a silent witness. By morning, the story had fractured the internet, a clip less than 30 seconds long. Maya, in cuffs. The officer's voice, faint but audible, had been retweeted, dissected, slowed down frame by frame. Nice ride. You borrow it from your boss? That line had become a headline, then a meme, then a movement. Maya woke to the sound of her phone convulsing with alerts. She ignored them all. The light coming through her penthouse windows was pale, sterile. She stood barefoot by the glass, watching drones hum past the skyline. Her reflection looked unrecognizable, not the woman who'd commanded billion-dollar deals, but someone hollowed out by scrutiny. Downstairs, her driver and security detail were already fielding journalists. The building concierge had been told to deny access, but cameras still swarmed outside. Her assistant, Jonah, called. His voice was panicked. The board wants an emergency PR meeting. They're worried about optics. Optics, Maya said flatly. Not ethics. They just want to make sure the company isn't dragged into a political narrative. Racism isn't a narrative, she said. It's structure. He hesitated. Should I tell them you're on your way? She looked at the city again, her own empire now turned microscope. Tell them I'm coming. Hallstrom Tower's glass elevators were silent but oppressive. As she rose, the newsfeed screens in the lobby replayed the footage, captions crawling beneath. CEO detained in possible racial profiling incident. The phrasing was surgical. Neutered. When she entered the boardroom, conversations stopped. 9 men and 2 women, mostly white, all visibly anxious. Maya, said the chairman, Grant Holloway, we want you to know we're deeply concerned. You're concerned the CEO being arrested for driving while black might hurt quarterly returns, she said. A PR consultant cleared her throat. Public sentiment is volatile. We recommend a temporary leave of absence. Purely optics. Maya's eyes narrowed. You want me gone? Just until things calm down, Holloway said. We can frame it as personal leave. She studied them, a row of faces trained to manage discomfort. You didn't suspend Jonathan after his harassment scandal. You paid him out. That was different, Holloway said stiffly. It always is, she replied. A silence cut through the room. Someone's pen clicked nervously. Dr. Jefferson, another board member said carefully. If this becomes political, it already is political, Maya interrupted, because I'm the one in cuffs, not the man who put them there. Alicia's voice came from the speakerphone in the center of the table. She's not stepping down, she said, and any move to force her will be considered retaliatory. The consultant shifted. The public attention will fade. But we can't control the narrative if you don't get to control this one, Maya said. For once, the camera isn't on your side. Her words fell like a gavel. That evening, at home, she scrolled through the comments under the viral clip. Thousands of strangers defending her, thousands more doubting her. She must have mouthed off. Why play the race card? Arrogant, like all of them. Her thumb hovered over the screen, then stopped on a post that simply read, They humiliate us in daylight, so the night remembers our place. She stared at it for a long time. Meanwhile, in the precinct locker room, Daniels sat alone, scrolling through the same footage, his own voice on loop, the sneer immortalized. Brooks entered quietly. Unions already drafted your statement, he said. They're backing you. Daniels didn't look up. They should. They're saying you followed procedure. Daniels set his phone down. Then that's the truth. Brooks' voice hardened. No, that's the defense. Daniels glared at him. You filming me now too, hero? No, Brooks said. But someone did. Daniels froze. Brooks left without another word. Maya sat on her couch, sleepless, watching the skyline flicker between headlines on TV. The anchor's voice was smooth, detached. Community activists call for investigation into the arrest of Hallstrom Industries CEO, Dr. Maya Jefferson. The police department has issued a statement promising full transparency. Maya sat on her couch, sleepless, watching the skyline flicker between headlines on TV. The anchor's voice was smooth, detached. Community activists call for investigation into the arrest of Hallstrom Industries CEO, Dr. Maya Jefferson. The police department has issued a statement promising full transparency. By Tuesday morning, Hallstrom Tower had become a fortress of glass and denial. The front entrance swarmed with cameras, drones buzzing like mechanical hornets. Employees slipped through side doors, pretending not to see the swarm outside. Maya walked through the main doors anyway. Heads turned, whispers followed. She moved like she had always moved, composed, deliberate, measured, down to breath. But her silence carried weight now. Fear, curiosity, guilt, all of it mirrored in the eyes that refused to meet hers. When she reached the boardroom, half the seats were already filled. The meeting started without greetings. The air was sterile, all business and cowardice. Grant Holloway adjusted his tie. Dr. Jefferson, we've reviewed our public position. Investors are expressing concern over instability. Instability, Maya repeated. You mean truth. We're not questioning your integrity, he said quickly. But perception drives markets. Maya leaned forward, and racism drives perception. A long silence. PR head Lillian Brooks, one of the few women in the room, spoke carefully. We've crafted a statement acknowledging the incident while reaffirming confidence in law enforcement. It threads the needle. Reads like a surrender, Maya said. Lillian's jaw tightened. It reads like survival. Alicia, patched in via video, interjected. If you release that, you validate the arrest. You tell every employee of color that compliance is more important than dignity. Holloway exhaled. You're turning this into ideology, Maya. No, Maya said quietly. I'm turning it into accountability. She stood, eyes sweeping the room. You hired me for diversity optics. Now the same optics scare you. Holloway's tone hardened. We're protecting the company. You mean your comfort. Her words landed like a gavel. Later that afternoon, she met Alicia in a cafe away from downtown, a small brick place where people pretended the world outside didn't exist. Alicia slid a folder across the table. The department's internal review is already corrupted. They misplaced the original dashcam data. Maya didn't flinch. How convenient. We'll subpoena it, Alicia said, but it'll take weeks. Meanwhile, Daniel's union is painting you as aggressive and non-compliant. Maya stirred her coffee. The spoons ring metallic. They're rewriting me into their script. They always do, Alicia said. That's why we get ahead of it. Alicia smiled, razor thin. We leak before they do. Maya looked at her. Footage, not yet. Testimony. Brooks is talking quietly. Guilt's eating him. Good, Maya said. Let it. Across the city, in his small apartment, Brooks sat in front of his laptop, the glow bleaching his face pale. His hands trembled as he played the footage again. Daniel's voice sharp, derisive. Maya's calm restraint. The moment the cuffs clicked, he pressed upload, private link, unlisted, sent to one address, Alicia Grant. He closed the laptop and covered his face with both hands. By evening, another leak hit the news. Not the footage, just the transcript. Anonymous, verified by legal experts. It exposed Daniel's language, the racial condescension, the unlawful seizure. Social media detonated. She was right. Systemic, not isolated. #Justice for Maya. The police department issued a statement. We urge the public to avoid speculation until all facts are known. Translation. We're cornered. In the quiet of her office, Maya watched the city below, sirens echoing faintly in the distance. Her phone buzzed nonstop, emails multiplying like smoke. Jonah entered quietly. HR says some staff feel unsafe with the protests outside. Unsafe, she asked. I was handcuffed for driving home. He hesitated. They want to know if you'll issue a calming statement. No, she said. I'll issue a truthful one. He nodded slowly. You're not afraid. I've been afraid since graduate school, she said. I just stopped letting them see it. He lingered at the door. Dr. Jefferson, go home, Jonah, she said softly. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be worse. He left without arguing. That night, Daniels sat in his darkened living room, TV light flickering across his clenched jaw. His phone vibrated with messages, union reps, reporters, old friends offering silence disguised as loyalty. He muted them all. The transcript played on screen, his own words in black and white. You people always act like the rules don't apply. He hurled the remote across the room. It shattered against the wall. The sound didn't ease anything. Maya closed her laptop at midnight. Her reflection stared back from the dark screen. Equal parts exhaustion and fire. The war wasn't just public now. It was systemic, and it was spreading cracks. Tomorrow would bring blood, metaphorical or otherwise. But for the first time, the system was bleeding back. The morning after the transcript leak, the precinct was silent. Not calm, silent. The kind of silence that meant fear had entered the bloodstream. Every officer avoided eye contact. Screens flickered with news feeds replaying Daniel's words over and over. The department PR unit had issued its memo, no comments, to media, internal review pending. Daniels entered through the side door, head down, cap pulled low. The front desk clerk, usually talkative, didn't greet him. Conversations died mid-sentence when he passed Dot in the locker room. Brooks sat on a bench, half-dressed, staring at the tiled floor. Daniels dropped his bag beside him. "You see what they did to me?" Brooks didn't look up. "You did it to yourself." Daniels scoffed. "You think you're better than me because you kept your mouth shut." That leak came from somewhere. Brooks's jaw tightened. Someone had to tell the truth. Daniels stepped closer. "You think truth saves you? They'll hang us both." "Maybe," Brooks said, standing, "but at least I won't deserve it." Their eyes locked, one defiant, one seething. Dot. Daniels whispered, "You'll regret this." Brooks grabbed his badge, clipped it on. "Already do." He walked out, leaving Daniels alone with the echo of his own name turning to poison. Across town, Maya sat in Alicia's office, a minimalist space that smelled faintly of ink and exhaustion. Alicia scrolled through her phone, the department's spinning chaos, unions calling you a political opportunist. Maya leaned back in the chair, expression unreadable. "They're scared. They should be." Alicia looked up. "Brooks sent me something last night. Body cam footage. It's unedited." Maya froze. "And it's everything," Alicia said quietly. "The taunting, the cuffs, the smirk, the second patrol car arriving, the female officer realizing who you were." Maya's breath caught. "He recorded all of it, every second." Alicia turned the screen toward her. The video began. Maya's calm, Daniel's hostility, the deliberate escalation. The footage was crystal clear, procedural cruelty rendered in high definition. When the clip ended, Maya couldn't speak for several seconds. "They won't survive this," Alicia said. Maya's voice was low. "Neither will I, not the same way." Brooks arrived at the station that afternoon with a sealed envelope in his hand. He walked past every stare, every whisper, and into Lieutenant Vega's office. Vega looked up, weary. "Officer Brooks." Brooks placed the envelope on the desk. "Bodycam copy. Full version." Vega frowned. "Chain of custody. I made a duplicate before they could scrub it," Brooks said. "Internal Affairs can verify it's untampered." Vega studied him. "You realize this ends your career?" Brooks nodded. "Better that than my conscience." Vega exhaled, slowly. "You understand, once this goes public, the department's going to implode." "Then it needs to," Brooks said. That evening, Alicia uploaded a redacted copy to the press with one line attached. "Evidence provided by a sworn officer contradicts official reports." Within an hour, it hit every major network. The footage rolled. Maya's voice, steady. Daniel's mocking tone, the hand on his holster, the smirk as the cuffs clicked. It was undeniable. Commentators called it a watershed moment. Civil rights groups called for immediate suspension. Politicians issued statements full of polished empathy. Maya turned the TV off mid-broadcast. "They don't care," she said. "They just don't want to be next." Alicia poured whiskey into 2 glasses. "They'll care when the hearings start." Maya didn't drink, and then they'll move on. Alicia looked at her. "Not if you don't." At the precinct, Daniel's locker had been emptied by the time he returned. His badge sat on Vega's desk, next to a suspension notice. "You can't do this," he said. "Union hasn't signed off." Vega's voice was even. "Internal Affairs has probable cause for misconduct and racial bias. Effective immediately. You're relieved of duty." Daniels slammed his fist on the desk. "This is political theater." Vega stood. "No, officer. This is accountability." The word hit him harder than any reprimand. He stormed out, shouting curses into the echoing hall. That night, Maya stood on her balcony overlooking the city. The air was thick with summer heat and distant sirens. Below, protesters carried signs, their chants rising faintly like heartbeat rhythm. Alicia called, "Tomorrow the city council will convene a public hearing. You'll testify." Maya's fingers tightened on the railing. "Under oath." "Yes, good. Daniels will be there too." She stared out at the lights, her reflection ghosted against the glass. "Let him be. Are you ready for that?" Maya's voice was calm, final. "I was ready the night he put the cuffs on." Down the street, Brooks walked home past news vans and chanting crowds. He stopped at a lamppost covered in posters. "Justice for Maya, end profiling." Now, a woman recognized him, the second officer. She didn't speak. She just nodded once, slow, grateful. For the first time in weeks. Brooks didn't feel small. Maya returned inside, closing the balcony door behind her. She sat at her desk and opened her laptop. A blank statement document waited her opening remarks for the hearing. Her fingers hovered over the keys. Then she began to type. To be black and successful in America is to carry a mirror, one that reflects everyone's fear but your own humanity. On the night of June 14th, I was not stopped for speeding. I was stopped for existing. She paused, inhaled, and kept writing. Outside, the city pulsed with chants and lights. The cracks were widening, and through them, truth was beginning to shine. The city council chamber overflowed. Press, activists, cameras, and citizens crowded into every inch of space. The air was electric, part tension, part spectacle. Behind the long oak table, the council members adjusted microphones. In front of them, the witness table held two placards: Maya Ellison, CEO, Ellison Dynamics, and Officer Brad Daniels, Metro Police Department, suspended. Daniels sat stiffly in his suit, jaw locked. His lawyer whispered something that made his nostrils flare. Across from him, Maya waited in silence, hands folded, expression unreadable. She wore no jewelry, no armor except composure. Alicia sat behind her, legal pad open, phone recording. The council chair tapped the microphone. This hearing will examine the conduct of Officer Brad Daniels during a roadside stop involving Ms. Maya Ellison. Officer Ms. Ellison, thank you for appearing voluntarily. The murmurs faded. Councilwoman Ortiz leaned forward. Ms. Ellison, please describe the encounter in your own words. Maya's voice was steady. I was driving home from a board meeting around 10 p.m. Officer Daniels pulled me over without cause. He claimed I fit a description. He ordered me out of the car, handcuffed me, and accused me of driving a stolen vehicle. Did you inform him of your identity? Yes, she said. He laughed. Daniels shifted, muttering under his breath. The microphones caught it. Of course I laughed. Ortiz raised an eyebrow. Officer, please wait until it's your turn. Maya continued, eyes on the council. He detained me on the roadside for 40 minutes while running background checks that showed nothing. I was released only after a second unit arrived and recognized my name. A beat of silence. The council chair cleared his throat. And the body cam footage, it confirms this account. Yes, Maya said, in full. The footage had already aired across the country, but the chamber insisted on procedure. The monitor flickered to life. Daniel's voice filled the room. Step out of the car, ma'am. Then Maya's calm. May I ask what this is about? The laughter, the smirk, the words, you people always have an attitude. Every syllable echoed. When it ended, no one spoke. Ortiz finally said, Officer Daniels, you may respond. Daniels leaned forward. That video doesn't show what I was responding to. She was aggressive, confrontational. Maya turned, sharp. I was handcuffed for existing. He shot back, you were suspicious. The council chair raised a hand. Officer, watch your tone. Daniels pressed on, his voice rising. You think this is about race. It's about respect. I told her to comply. Comply with what? Maya's voice cut through, quiet but lethal. The assumption of guilt. The room froze. Ortiz said, Officer, did you know Ms. Ellison was the CEO of Ellison Dynamics? Daniels smirked. No, and it wouldn't have mattered. Ortiz's eyes narrowed. Shouldn't it? He hesitated. No one's above the law. Maya's tone was cold. And yet, you were. The council called the next witness, Officer Brooks. He took the stand with visible unease. Vega sat behind him, stone-faced. Brooks adjusted his tie. I was the secondary officer that night. I reviewed the footage. It was misconduct, plain and simple. Daniel's lawyer interrupted. Speculation? Ortiz waved it off. Continue. Brooks swallowed. We're trained to de-escalate. He escalated. He mocked her. He used his authority to humiliate her. Daniels muttered, traitor. Brooks ignored him, and then the department tried to cover it. They told me the footage was corrupted. It wasn't. Gasps rippled through the audience. Ortiz leaned forward. You're saying there was an intentional attempt to suppress evidence? Yes, ma'am. And you risked your career to expose it. Brooks nodded. Because it was wrong. Daniels slammed his hand on the table. You don't know what you're talking about. The chair struck his gavel. Officer Daniels, one more outburst and you'll be removed. Outside, cameras waited like vultures. Inside, Daniels' lawyer whispered frantically, but Daniels had lost control of the narrative, and himself. When his turn came to give a closing statement, he rose, straightened his jacket, and glared at the crowd. You people want a villain, he said. Fine, but you weren't there. You don't know what it's like to patrol those streets, to deal with attitude and danger every night. You sit in offices and judge. Ortiz said quietly, no one forced you to humiliate a woman on the roadside. He turned toward Maya. You think you're better than everyone else because you've got money and status. You people play the race card the moment anyone questions you. The audience erupted boos, shouts, the gavel banged. Maya didn't move. Her gaze was surgical. You just proved every point I've made. Hours later, as the hearing adjourned, Daniels was escorted out a side door for his protection. Reporters swarmed the exits. Ms. Ellison, Ms. Ellison. She faced the microphones only once. I didn't come here for revenge, she said. I came here because silence protects power, and power unchecked becomes violence. Then she walked away. That night, news coverage exploded. Headline: Bodycam fallout. Suspended officer faces federal probe. Subhead: City launches review of racial profiling patterns. Editorials dissected every frame. Hashtags flooded the net. Protests turned to vigils. Alicia watched the coverage with quiet satisfaction. It's over. Maya shook her head. No, this is just exposure. Change takes rot to the roots. She looked out the window, the same skyline where she'd once been humiliated under flashing red and blue lights. Alicia asked, "What will you do now?" Maya said, "What I've always done. Build, only louder this time." Across town, Daniels sat alone in his apartment, surrounded by unopened mail and dark silence. His badge lay on the counter. The news played on mute, looping his own face. He hurled the remote. Glass shattered. The knock came minutes later. Firm, official. Officer Daniels, federal investigators. We have a warrant. He didn't answer. The knocking grew harder. He stared at the badge, then turned off the lights. At the same hour, Maya closed her laptop. An email notification blinked. Department issues public apology to Ms. Ellison. She read it once, then deleted it. Some apologies, she knew, were built for cameras, but outside, the chants had changed. No longer rage, resolve. She stepped onto the balcony. Streetlights shimmered across wet pavement. The city breathed, alive, uncertain, shifting. For the first time since that night, she exhaled without shaking. The system had cracked, not broken, not yet, but cracked. And through those cracks, something irreversible had begun to grow. Morning light filtered through the glass towers of downtown. Reporters clustered outside City Hall again. The second hearing, this time for disciplinary verdicts. A crowd chanted on the steps, signs raised. No more silence. Justice means reform. Inside, the mood was different from before. Theatrics were gone. What remained was fatigue, truth, and consequence. Maya sat in the same chair as before. No cameras now. This was closed session. Alicia beside her, Vega across the aisle, representing the department. Brooks in the back row, hands clasped. Daniels, pale and rigid, sat with his new attorney. The chair began reading findings from a stack of pages. After review of the full footage, sworn testimony, and internal communications, the committee finds sufficient evidence of misconduct, racial bias, and suppression of evidence by Officer Brad Daniels. A pause. Daniels stared straight ahead. Effective immediately, Officer Daniels is terminated from the Metro Police Department. The matter is referred to the District Attorney for criminal review. The words fell heavy. He didn't move, didn't blink, just stared into the void as if the floor beneath him had disappeared. Vega turned toward Maya. On behalf of the department, Ms. Ellison, I extend our formal apology. Maya's reply was measured. It's noted. Vega nodded once. And Officer Brooks will be reinstated, pending assignment in the Community Oversight Division. Brooks's shoulders lifted in relief, not joy, but release. The chair closed the file. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel struck wood, sounded like the end of something much larger than one case. Outside, the media were waiting. Alicia gestured toward the side exit, but Maya stopped. No, she said, not this time. She stepped out the front door into the sea of cameras, microphones thrust forward. Maya, how do you feel about the verdict? Do you think justice was served? She answered without hesitation. Justice isn't an event, she said. It's a process. Today is proof it can start. Reporters pressed further. What's next for you? I'm founding a scholarship for young Black women entering law and policy, she said, because power only changes when the people inside it do. The cameras caught the moment. Maya Ellison, head high, walking through a wall of flashing lights with purpose, not vengeance. That night, news anchors declared it a historic disciplinary action. The footage looped nationwide. Editorials praised her composure, dissected her words. But at home, alone in her apartment, Maya sat in the dark. The glow of the city below looked different now, not hostile, just tired. Her phone buzzed. A message from Brooks. Brooks, thank you for not letting it die quietly. Maya, thank you for proving not everyone looked away. She put the phone down and exhaled. The silence that followed wasn't hollow anymore. Across town, Daniel's apartment was empty. Furniture gone, badge left on the counter. A single envelope rested beside it, addressed to Internal Affairs. Inside, a two-line note, did what they wanted. They win. I'm done. No one saw him again that night. The news mentioned he'd left the city. No charges yet, pending review. Alicia read the report and said, he'll resurface when attention fades. Maya said, let him. I'm not chasing ghosts. Weeks passed. Ellison Dynamics headquarters reopened to record attendance. Journalists waited in the lobby for statements. Maya declined them all. She walked past cameras, through the glass doors, and into her office, walls lined with community grant proposals and legislative drafts. Her assistant handed her a letter. From the mayor's office, she said. Maya opened it. We would like to invite you to serve as an advisor to the new task force on police accountability. She set the letter down. Alicia raised an eyebrow. So now they want you in the room, Maya said quietly. Then I'll make the room mean something. At the next council meeting, she stood before a smaller, humbler crowd. Her voice carried, even without microphones. This isn't about punishing one man, she said. It's about rebuilding systems that let him believe he could do what he did. Reform doesn't start with training, it starts with truth. Applause rose, not thunderous, but sincere. Brooks watched from the back, arms folded. Vega nodded once, acknowledging something wordless between them, survival, maybe even respect. That night, Maya drove home the same route as before, the same stretch of highway, same curve where red and blue lights had once fractured her world. Now, the road was empty. She slowed at the shoulder, just for a moment, looking out at the dark. The memory replayed, the handcuffs, the flashlight, the humiliation. Then she put the car back in gear and drove on. No fear this time, no rage, just clarity. She whispered to herself. Not an ending, a beginning. 2 months later, her foundation launched. The first recipients for young women stood on stage beside her. One of them said into the mic, voice trembling, "You showed us what strength looks like." Maya smiled, brief but real. "It looks like truth," she said, "even when it costs you everything." Applause filled the hall. Cameras flashed again. This time, they weren't capturing pain. They were recording history. In a dim precinct office, a new recruit pinned his badge on. Above him hung a framed statement, part of the new training initiative Maya had helped author. Authority is not immunity. Protection is not power. Every stop is a story. Make yours worth telling. The recruit looked at it for a long time before walking out to start his shift. Outside, dawn spread across the city. Sirens wailed somewhere in the distance, but softer this time, not as a threat, but as a reminder. Maya watched the sunrise from her balcony. Coffee in hand, Alicia texted, "You've started something, you know." Maya typed back, "Then, let's finish it." She turned her gaze toward the skyline, toward everything broken, everything still to be rebuilt, and in the quiet between sirens and sunlight, she felt it, the balance between grief and grace. The road was still long, but it was finally hers to drive.